In this video, I'm going to be following along a recipe from WhiskTakers to see if I can make Japanese souffle pancakes with 2 eggs. So let's begin.
Hey everybody, let's turn these eggs into fluffy Japanese pancakes.
Alright guys, I'm going to try and turn these 2 eggs into fluffy Japanese pancakes.
Give those eggs a good crack and separate the yolks from the whites.
I'm going to be using my chicken egg separator to separate the yolks from the whites.
Making these pancakes fluffy might seem like rocket science, but don't sweat it. I've got all the tricks up my sleeve, and I'm spilling them in this video.
I've also got a few tricks spilling in this video, but every time somebody says a dish isn't rocket science, it usually turns out to be the hardest thing you ever make, especially anything with the word souffle in it. And sorry, I don't mean to flex my chicken egg white separator on you guys. I saw one content creator use it, and I had to get one for myself. Now, after you separate it, we're gonna put the egg whites in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll let you know a little bit later why.
Throw a splash of milk into the yolks. Milk helps to create a lighter, fluffier texture.
We're gonna add in a splash of 4 teaspoons of milk. He doesn't really specify which kind, but I'm using 2%.
Adding vanilla extract would be a great touch.
We're gonna add a touch of vanilla extract.
All right, and let's add the flour. I'm a sifting nerd.
We're gonna add the flour. I'm just a nerd that doesn't know how to sift.
I use cake flour, but all-purpose works too.
I'm using organic all-purpose flour, but you can use cake flour too. So I added 3 tablespoons and sifted it in slowly while stirring until it was nice and smooth.
We're aiming for a nice creamy consistency.
I'm following this recipe exactly as it is because I feel like it's one of those where you can't really make any substitutions.
Now, let's dive into the whites.
We're gonna take the whites out of the freezer and take a dive.
Grab your mixer and start whipping on low speed. If you want to whisk by hand, go for it.
Whisking meringue by hand was a form of self-torture created by the French, and I'd never recommend that for you guys. So we're gonna grab our mixer and mix it on low speed.
Once you see some foam, start adding the sugar bit by bit.
You start to see foam rather quickly. We're gonna need a total of 3 teaspoons of sugar, so I'm gonna add it teaspoon by teaspoon. And after about a minute or so, you can start to crank up the speed to high.
Oh, and I almost forgot. It's a really good idea to pop the egg whites in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes before you start whipping them.
This AI chef tricked me once and I had to start all over again. Apparently the reason you want to keep them in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes is so that you don't overwhip them. And it helps the batter stay firmer longer so your pancakes hold their height better when you're cooking.
Whip the egg whites until stiff peaks, but don't go too far. Once they're shiny and can hold their shape, stop.
It's been shiny for a little while, but it's stiff now, so I'm gonna stop.
Add about 1/3 of the egg whites into the egg yolk mixture.
I'm gonna add about 1/3 of the egg whites into the egg yolk mixture.
Stir it well until smooth, but leave the mixer out of it.
Stirring until smooth and leaving the mixer out of it.
Now pour this mixture into the rest of the egg whites.
Now pour the rest of the mixture into the egg whites. I'm starting to get a little nervous because my mixture is looking a little bit loose.
Gently fold it all together with a spatula.
Gently fold it over with a spatch.
This technique creates air pockets that make the pancakes rise to incredible heights when cooked.
While using this technique to create air pockets, I am praying that my pancakes rise to incredible heights.
Let's grab a pastry bag, but if you're feeling rebellious, you can totally skip it and just go without.
I'm gonna get 1 Ziploc bag and 1 large cup.
All right, transfer the mixture into a pastry bag.
I kind of sensed that was gonna be the next step. As you can see, even the small Ziploc bag is good enough to fit pretty much all of the batter.
Turn the stove to low heat and give it a quick oiling.
I have an electric stovetop, so I set it to low-medium heat, and I added in some ghee that will turn into oil.
Getting the right heat is crucial for making Japanese pancakes. If it's too high, the pancakes will puff up fast, but also deflate just as quickly once you take them out of the pan.
I can't tell if that's a non-stick pan, but I'm gonna use a small cast iron pan and let it heat up for about 5 minutes before starting.
Gently squeeze the batter onto the preheated skillet. You'll notice it holds its shape and doesn't spread out. That's your meringue, flexing its muscles, showing it's whipped to perfection.
It was somewhere at this point I questioned why I was even doing this. Between my poor piping skills, whipping technique, and the amount of dishes I had awaiting me, my morale and failure was personified by this pancake.
Add a few drops of water to the pan. Cover with a lid and cook for 7 to 10 minutes.
Cover with a lid and do the dishes for 5 to 7 minutes.
Honestly, I'm a bit nervous. I've had some epic fails before.
Slow down, baby. What?
I am definitely locking all the doors and dimming the lights for his pancake. And it's safe to say that my first attempt was an epic fail, although they still kind of look a little bit thick and fluffy.
Let's toss in a few more drops of water. Slap a lid on it. and let it cook for another 5 minutes or so.
Once we flip it, we're gonna add water and then do the dishes for another 5 minutes.
Getting pancakes fluffy takes a bit of effort. I had a few flops before nailing it.
This guy is like the final boss of Japanese souffle pancakes. Even though it was my first time making it, I wasn't ready to perform the ritualistic tradition of seppuku just yet. So I followed the recipe the exact same way again. However, this time I made sure that I added a little bit more flour in the egg mixture so that the consistency looked exactly like it did in the video, which in my case was about another half tablespoon of flour. It almost started feeling sticky like glue. And I also whipped the meringue until it was even firmer. I was really worried about over whipping it the first time, but because we keep it in the freezer, it's gonna whip slower, and there's a trick on how to tell if your meringue is perfect. And you do this by holding your bowl upside down, and if the meringue doesn't fall out, it's firm enough. That doesn't count because it was from the mixer. I'm gonna use the wax on, wax off technique. Make sure we're creating all those air pockets. Then I'm gonna load my Ziploc piping bag once more and see if it made a difference. So despite having no grace while flipping these things, also not being able to pipe properly, I think we nailed the texture though. I think I accidentally ate that first pancake by accident before filming it. They seem to have stayed pretty thick and they definitely passed the jiggle test. It looks nice and airy on the inside. This one looks like it might have deflated a little bit because it got cold, but they still do kind of feel like clouds in your hand. The taste is nice and light on its own, but I'm gonna drown it in some maple syrup, try it, and then rate it from 1 to 10. I'm gonna give this recipe a 9.5 out of 10, and my execution was more of a 7.5. So with a couple of tries, I'm very confident you can make this yourself, and it'll probably turn out even better, to be honest. The key is to adjust the amount of flour for the egg mixture until the batter was fairly thick and almost started to feel like glue, along with whipping the meringue until it was also very stiff. But that's it for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you like this style of videos, where I find recipes and learn how to make them, with some pain and failure along the way.